So here we go. Welcome to the director call, and I feel very honored to be able to open the director call for the first time in my life. And I can still remember my first director call, and this was for 3 years after 23 years of experience in the network marketing industry. And from the beginning on, I was so impressed by the professional leaders here in the director call. And because for me, this is like the trainer webinar. Because the best of the best are now on the call. And I have been Zinzino, as I said, for 3 years now, and I see that the director call is growing and growing and growing. But I know this is just the beginning, because for me, we start right now to be a $1 billion company. This is so in my mind. This is amazing. And the professionalism in this company is really amazing. I see this every day with the marketing. Thank you very much for all the marketing stuff in the company, for the product quality. And today, again, a big round of applause for our translators, because this is really a great job. This means the foundation here in Zinzino is brilliant, really brilliant. And now it's up to each and every one of us to make Zinzino to $1 billion company. And we can all experience personal growth here from this call. Because we have in the last 3 weeks wonderful trainers and leaders, and so we can grow from director call to director call. And now I'm looking forward to the part of Elite President Dr. Sven Goebel, and his topic is ranking up for a stellar second half of 2025. He is a true master of building large organizations through team leadership, motivation. He is a visionary. He has great visions like we, everybody here in the call, and he empowering partners. And this is what I like most, because he have the understanding for the feeling for the partners. He can give very easy steps that the partners can grow and so on. Are you ready, Sven?
Hey, Birgit. Yes, I am ready. How is everyone? Good. Give us a thumb up and write in the chat whether you're on vacation or at home. I must honestly admit I was quite on the road over the past almost 2 months. Many of you knew I had a round birthday to celebrate, and I confessed to myself after, I would say, a decade of tough building, that this summer we are gonna do just whatever we want. Cincino gives us the total freedom, the time freedom, the financial freedom to go and travel wherever we want, when we want. And yet, what you do is you always still take the business with you in the backpack, and this is what I find so fascinating, because you can literally do your business from anywhere. If I was on vacation. We were at the most beautiful spots. We had an exciting summer. We still have an exciting summer. We are off on the road again in 3 days, and I think it doesn't stop until Oslo. Of course, there's also business trips in between, but will be a lot of travel. And you combine private travel and you combine business travel, and yet you're always there. And then you get messages and you answer and you jump on Zoom calls, and you can jump on a Zoom call from a rental car. You can jump on a Zoom on the side of the road. You can jump on a Zoom call from the pool. You can jump on a Zoom call from a hotel room. You can interrupt a dinner and go and speak with people. And what I like most about traveling is, and this is from experience, Audrey and I, we have always built and found our best and most loyal partners when we were traveling. And this is probably something for you to consider, because people always think, oh, when everybody goes on vacation, there's no business anymore. And let's clean up with that misperception. Then I'm going to jump into my subject, because I want to ease your mind on this one. First of all, in Zinzino, we have a very stable subscription-based customer business. And I don't know how it looks in your team, but in our team and also in my various teams downline, I check the numbers. These customer numbers are still growing also across the summer. And this is fascinating because this gives you a super solid residual business that comes in whether you travel or not, whether you are on the pool or whether you are at your desk. That's the first thing. The second thing is our message. And I will expand more into sharpen your message. The second thing is you guys, you will get into conversations with people everywhere, especially on vacation. And the killer question somebody would ask me is, what are you doing for business? Because that's the moment where I got him. I'm just waiting for this question. Sometimes the question doesn't come. They don't ask you what you do for business. They probably only ask you where you live. Do you know how you can trigger the question? Just ask them first. Then they will always come back to you with the same question. Hey, all that, and then they explain what they do. You have your story in mind. You know exactly how you get them, and then we'll ask you. And this is the start. What are you doing for business? And then you have to sharpen your message. I'm going to get into this in this call because a sharpened message is the most important thing. And it does not matter whether you lead with the product and with the health story, or whether you lead with the business expansion and driving the network. It doesn't matter because in Zinzino, both stories are strong enough. But you have to understand no matter which path you're going, whether you go down the product route or whether you go down the business and expansion route, both are great. You cannot cut deep with a dull knife. Write that down. You know, you cannot cut deep with a dull knife. Your knife, your message, knife stands for the message. This has to be fully sharpened. So, what's very important is how do you sharpen your message? How do you get the right message across that instantly triggers people? And Birgit, I wanted to ask you a question. Are you still there? Is your mic on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, Birgit, she's always playing herself down, but I want to give you a minute of recognition because you guys have built a top Cinzino president business all across the summer as well, within, let's say, 3 years, you know, and I mean, how do you feel about your international expansion? I know you guys are jumping in your beautiful car on Thursday, driving down to Italy, meeting your teams, having some cappuccinos in between. I know that. How do you feel about what I just said? Is it true that you can actually work from anywhere?
Yes, 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 absolutely. And I love summertime because it's the best time for contacts, in my opinion. And the preparation for the summertime is also interesting because you can ask people if they even go on vacation, where, and whether is this your dream vacation. And the answers are very, very interesting, ranging from, oh, we can't go, I'm not feeling well, but for this we have a solution. Or yes, we can only afford to the next city and so on. And so you can give the people the solution for the health and for the wealth. And we practice these things starting in June, and everyone writes their contacts, and then we can do the same in August. We can ask the people, how was your vacation? Because preparation is everything. And so all partners should take tests and products with them on vacation, like you said. And this is just an example because these months are the preparation for great success for the rest of the year. And contacts and duplication will get you to your goal. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you, Birgit. I'm going to get into because my subject today is ramping up for a stellar second half of 2025. And now the interesting time of the year begins. We are still in the summer. We're still in the summer vacation period, especially if you work in Southern Europe, you know, Ferragosto in Italy. And so that's the time where you find people on the beach, but they don't vaporize. You know, people don't vaporize. They are just in a different spot and they are still open for conversation. They are still open for a nice talk at a cappuccino or at a glass of rosé in the evening, and you can still talk vision and you can still talk health with them. This is amazing, you know. That's exactly the spots where you meet the people. And what Audrey and I do very diligently, we always take our products and we take a lot of tests. I think Audrey has tested quite a lot of people this summer, and then we have the conversation going. That's why it's so important. So I'm going to share with you what to ramp up for the rest of the year and how to ramp up for the rest of the year. But that was the vacation part. And one last thing on that one, whenever you're still planning to go on vacation, think about the message, think about triggering the business question, think about bringing a lot of tests, bring the small oil bottles as well, give it out to people that tell them start today. And they say, yeah, but I'm at the sea. I'm having enough fish. I say, that's wonderful. It has a lot of omega-3, but it's not enough. Okay. Here's something else what I figured out, and I'm starting to fall in love also to start with the product subject. And many of you who know me know that I am going right into the business subject usually. But I love talking about the product, especially about the omega-3, because this is a topic that has just no negativity around it. When you say, well, what business are you in? I wouldn't probably say, what business are you in? Well, I'm in the fish oil business. Maybe this is something you should not say. It sounds a little bit off-turning, okay? But if you say, hey, we are revolutioning the nutritional market industry on a global level, and our main topic, and where we are super experts and the biggest in the world, is omega-3. Have you ever heard of omega-3? And people will immediately say, yes, yes, omega-3, everyone has heard about. Nobody has heard something negative about omega-3. And then the next question you can ask, this is what I just did with a gentleman from Dubai in the hotel pool. He was taking omega-3. It was recommended by his doctor. He was very open. And I said, sir, did you know exactly why you would take omega-3? And he said, yeah, no, I'm not so sure. I said, did you know that it is the perfect building block for your cell membrane? That is like a goalkeeper, a gatekeeper for getting the nutritions in and the toxins out. Oh, yeah, really? I said, yes. And if you don't have enough of that and from the food, and I could see he was a little overweight, right? He definitely had enough omega-6 for sure. So, did you know that the balance between omega-6 and omega-3 is the key thing? And this is what we measure. This is what we test. This is where our company is the number one leader in the world. We've done about 1.5 million tests in that regard. We have the biggest knowledge database on omega-3. Bam. And from that moment, you have them triggered for the product. They know it's serious. If you squeeze in that we are even a publicly listed company on NASDAQ, 20 years old, there's no doubt from anybody that there is an interesting topic for them. And then the question, what they immediately ask, okay, how can I benefit? And then you have two options again. You can talk to them and say, okay, listen, guy, what product of omega-3 are you using if they already use some? So they will talk about their capsules. And when somebody talks about, I'm taking omega-3 capsules, my question always is, and you can write this down, this is the fun part. Have you ever bitten on one? Oh, no, 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 they taste fishy. I said, well, if it tastes fishy, it might probably be too late for your product, you know? It might be oxidized. You need it fresh. Did you know that fresh omega-3 doesn't taste fishy at all? And if you combine it with fresh olive oil, especially when you're in Italy, everybody loves fresh olive oil, right? If you combine with fresh olive oil, it really does its job much better. Would you like to try some really fresh omega-3 compared to your capsules, which you don't even dare to bite on? Yeah, 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 yeah. Here you got it. So even for these people who go down the product path, there's very interesting things you can talk about and you can make it fun, you can make it interesting. I learned many years back from one of our external trainers. He said a very simple sentence, and you want to write this down. If people don't find interesting what you told them, you haven't told them anything interesting. Very simple. Write it down. If people don't find interesting what you have told them, you haven't told them anything interesting. Means it's totally up to you. You know, we can make the Omega story so attractive, so interesting, so involving that people can't resist. Or we can put our hobby, experience, health coach hat on and give them a lot of knowledge that bores them away, especially when they have a drink in their hand in a hotel pool, where they say, okay, it was nice talking to you, and there's nothing left, you know? So sharpen your message, even if it's a product message, to a point that you keep them interested, that a 10-year-old could understand what you share with them. So you're not in the fish oil business, you have a much better story to tell. Okay? Or you go down the the business path and say, you know, I'm helping a multi-million dollar global player to become the next billion-dollar player in the nutritional supplement industry all around the world. We are a Nasdaq listed public company, 20 years old, with over 50% growth rate a year right now. Bam. This is also very interesting because immediately, and I did that a few times this summer as well, when I was traveling, people immediately ask, what's the name of your company? And you say Cinzino. And then they Google. And what do they Google? They find the chart. You know, they find the stock chart. And then I say, just look at the last year. Just look 1 year stock price, right? And I mean, I don't know whether you follow it. You should definitely, and I hope you have shares, but you should follow it. It was an incredible ride. And yes, sorry, 1 second. It was an incredible ride over the past months. And yes, we had a little correction right now, which was inevitable. We had to have a correction. But still, if you draw the line, the growth of the company, the value of the company, the increase is so amazing that every business person who really understands something about company development, about progress, about USPs, instantly sees we have something going here. And then you have another big subject you can talk about, right? But we are revolutionizing the nutrition industry on a global scale. And learn to talk about the stock price, learn to use these kind of tools. This is a different route you're now going, right? That's why you make people understand that this is an amazing unicorn like business case, and we are just in the beginning of momentum because we all know that this company will be going to be the next billion-dollar player in the next 3 to 4 to probably 5 years max. That is very, very important. Okay. So the question is, are you able to really trigger the people with the right message? And find the message that suits you best, because whenever you convey a message, what is really important is that you do it in an authentic way, that people see when you speak to them, this is you, this is the guy, you know. I think what he says is super authentic. I think what he or she says is super honest. They truly believe in it. They breathe it. I can see it come out of each and every body pore of that person. And I think it is so authentic that I cannot resist to look into it even a little deeper. Okay? That's the message you got to sharpen. And what I would recommend to you to use the summer to get a buddy from Zinzino, can be your downline, your upline, your crossline, doesn't matter. Find somebody and say, hey, I want to do some role plays with you. I want to do some role plays, and I want you to listen to my message and see if it would trigger you. Hadn't you heard from Cinzino before? That is a very, very important exercise because you just need to be precise. Your knife needs to be as sharp as it could be. Never dull, always sharp, always interesting, always resonating. That's important. You want to trigger interest. You want to trigger some wow, you know, because people don't hear our story very much. There's not much out there that can replicate a story like Cinzino does right now. Use it. I mean, I don't know whether you follow on a lot of networkers or people on social media. I have some of these crypto guys, you know, and recently the Bitcoin was having an all-time high again, and it's so funny because whenever it's going down or sideways, it's like me. Everybody is hiding. You can't see anything. You don't hear anything about it. And the moment this thing peaks a little bit, everybody goes like, yeah, the best of the world, and everybody needs to be in crypto, and we're gonna all be multimillionaires. This is how it's going. And then when you see it goes down again, you go me. Quiet, 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 quiet. They use their story. And we can actually do exactly the same. Now, the benefit we have is our business is just going up constantly. We are breaking record after record after record. And the most proudest thing that I share with people when it is about Zinzino of all is that now, meanwhile, 20 years consecutively, 20 years in a row, the company has been growing organically, healthily, year after year. There wasn't a single year where the sales were lower than the previous year. Every single year, the company has added growth. And this is now happening meanwhile since 20 years. Nobody is going to debate with you on that kind of stability and growth. You cannot debate an organic, non-stop 20-year growth. And if you look at the periods, and I do that very often because I tell people, look, our team has started 3 years ago. Okay, 3 years ago, the annual turnover was around, if I can recall it well, around 120 million a year. To get to 120 million a year, the company needed 17 years. Yeah, they went from 2005 to 2022 in order to get to 120 million a year. They have now I need to turn this off here because I'm getting calls on. I put my mobile phone on flight mode as it should be, but I cannot for some reason turn my Zoom off or my WhatsApp, because that would kill the call here as well. So what I was saying, sorry for that. What I was saying is it took them 17 years to get 120 million a year. Now, to double that, which we almost have done, close to doubling it 3 years later. So what they needed 17 years for, they were able to repeat, or we were able to repeat as in Zeno, within 3 years. And guess what? We are going to add another 120 million from that on top of that, probably if we end up this year. If we can trust, which we probably really well can, Orian's forecasts, his assumption. I mean, he knows his business very well, but he doesn't have a crystal ball either. But what he believes the number of 2025 would be, which I'm not going to tell you right now, um, we would add another chunk of the same size within 1 year. So what the company did in 17 years, they repeated in 3 years, and they will repeat again in 1 year. Can you imagine what this means? I can tell you what it means. It means momentum. The company is in an amazing momentum. And if we can pull this off in 2025, you can just imagine what we are going to pull off until 2028, because that's the target of where this company should be, could be, probably will be a multi-billion, not multi, a billion-dollar company. That's where we'll crack the billion. This is what makes me so incredibly excited. So the timing was never better than any time before. And you guys, please learn to talk about these things. Learn to talk about the growth of the company. Learn to talk about the momentum. Learn to talk about the value of its ownership. I mean, I'm sharing a lot of talking points with my people, but something we don't want to leave unmentioned here is that we have very young founders. I mean, at least from my perspective, they are still much younger than myself and my wife. So I'm very grateful for them. They will be in the driver's seat for many, many years, especially until 2050, because that's the big end goal, 2050. And until then, I believe that Orion and Hilda and also Doug and his team, they will be keeping their foot on the gas. So we are safe for the next 25 years. Can you imagine what all of us can do within 25 years? You don't need to be a president in 3 years. Even if you're president in 10 years, it's worth the journey, right? You can take your time. It's no rush. You will be in a safe haven while the world around us is partially collapsing. Also in the direct selling space, we are the ones flying, we are the ones thriving because our founders, they really have the vision, they have the knowledge, they have the work ethics, they have the financial backgrounds, the company is super healthy. And that's also something you can talk about. I don't know if you know the website. Look at it, simplywall.st, the Wall Street, Simply Wall Street, simplywall.st. Write it down. Google Cinzino and look how healthy and still undervalued our share is at this point. So even out there, everything stands on growth, everything stands on momentum. And if you hadn't joined yet, the next best moment is now to get into Zinzino because it will get better and better and better and better. And we have so much interesting stuff in the pipeline. We're going to have an amazing Oslo convention. We are going to see by the end of the year how everything is going to unfold. This anniversary year already, and half of it is gone, at this point was nothing short of exciting. There was zero disappointment. Everything was kind of evolving, growing. There was momentum happening. We had record numbers in partners, record numbers in customers, record numbers in sales. We have a lot of innovations. Technology is gearing up. We have the platforms we need to work. We can share pages, concept pages, videos, everything. It's a networker's paradise to work here in Zinzino. But that's what we got to learn to sell. This is what we got to excite people with. We got to become good at that, sharing this exciting message. It's a unique situation we are all in, and this is what we have to understand. And when you speak to people and they just look at you blind dead and you think you look into the dead eyes of London when you speak to people, it is your message. It's you can't put them on fire. And I think what we got to learn is we got to take everything we have, which is more than enough, and learn to articulate it in a way that people are getting fired up about what's going to happen. They will definitely take a deeper look. And if they don't want the business part, you can still roll back, turn back, and talk about. But you did understand the part with the omega and your cell membranes, didn't you? Yeah? Make a test. And then you hand out the test. Good. So we've been now sharing a lot of time on the message. We all understand that you want to sharpen your message. I gave you a lot of examples on how, on the product side, on the business side, you can sharpen your message, what you should learn to talk about. It should be so much in your DNA, these kind of topics, that when somebody snips you awake at 2 o'clock in the morning and you go like, oh, you should be ready to shoot that stuff out. You really need to inhale that and have it in your DNA. So whenever people see you, they feel like, oh man, this person has a strong message to share. They really believe in that. Good. So what to ramp up to? What to ramp up to? As we speak here, it's the end of July. This month is gone. We have 3 more days to close it strong. I can speak for my leaders and our organization. It has been nothing short of exciting. We've been growing further throughout the summer. It seems unstoppable. There was no so-called summer hole or summer quietness. Everybody was just keeping their work up, keeping their communication up, keeping the customer onboarding up, keeping the partner onboarding up, keeping making contacts up. Holiday and vacation is not an excuse. And I'm the best example for that. Okay. Now we have August coming. Okay. August can be a tricky month if we don't see it as a ramp up month, but as a slowdown month. Okay. Because we all know what's going to happen in September. In September, if I'm not wrong, and I probably might be allowed to say that, we could probably expect the next ECBX month. And it would be the surprise if not, but I think we can kind of expect that. Now, do you want to get into an ECBX month, which is even the months before Oslo Convention, where everybody wants to be recognized for a rank and wants to travel there with pride because they just have a brand new pin, right? Do you want to get into September stone cold and slow, or do you want to go with high speed into September? Because if you want to go into September at high speed, then you got to ramp it up in August. So what you should do for August is you should actually do a 60-day sprint campaign with your team. Say, okay, what, and it doesn't matter whether they are, and I'm repeating myself here, it doesn't matter whether they are on vacation or not. They can still be there, be present, be on WhatsApp, talk to people, do their jobs. That's what we all do. We can still do that. No problem with that. There's no excuse to be on vacation. Actually, you meet more people than at home, that's for sure. The people around you in your neighborhood, you've all seen them before. But in vacation, you always meet new ones every single day, every single spot. You meet new people. And then when you sharpen your message, well, you will have a lot of people who will be interested and you can work it off over time then after the vacation. That's exactly what we do. And it will always pay off. It always does. It always does. And when you travel to places where we travel to, you meet some nice, successful network marketers as well. I really run into successful network marketers because they choose kind of the same spots we choose. So that might be interesting. And then the question with those guys is, well, how's your company going? I've read some not so nice news recently on the press. Yeah, well, we're struggling. I say, okay, well, think about a plan B. All done that. All done that. We are in that position of strength. So, Oslo. I assume that each and every director is bringing a lot of his team leaders to Oslo, okay? And people. So, what you got to pay attention to in your back office, we're going to get into the back office now for a few minutes, is the Top Gun campaigns. That's the reason that we have Top Gun, because Top Gun tells you in real time how many of your downlines have purchased a ticket for Oslo. And it doesn't tell you only how many people of your downline have purchased tickets for Oslo. You can see the top 5 ticket sellers, ticket holders, organization wise, can see it country wise, and you can see it on international level based on rank. So you can compare yourself to your peers, whether you have sold more tickets and whether you're leading or whether you are below, and people with the same rank, probably even the same country, have sold more. If there's people in the same country with the same rank as you who have sold more, I can flat tell you, you could do more. You could promote more people to Oslo. And what we know is, write it down. People and leaders are born at events. Okay, so we need to get our people to Oslo because this is the one-time chance a year to see the super big picture of who Cinzino is and where it's going. I've never seen anyone in 33 years in this profession travel to a global convention of their company and come back disappointed. It never happens. Okay. And definitely it will not happen in Zinzino because that's where you will get the magic drink and you will go home empowered because you see clearly where this is going and what this is going to mean for you and your family tree for generations to come if you do it right. That's why it's so important to work for Oslo, to build towards Oslo, to get people to Oslo. The next thing is what is really a pleasure and what I love most about this convention is to see our people get recognized on stage. And for getting recognized on stage, you need a promotion. You need to make sure that you get a higher rank. Now, which months before Oslo is the best months to get a promotion, to get a higher rank? Very honest, September. ECBX months, before convention, everybody is in full swing, and that's why we have to make August so incredibly strong. Let's talk a little bit about building for events. I know there's also regional events and team events going on everywhere. And when your uplines set up a big weekend event, maybe we even have a corporate speaker, a corporate attendee there, maybe Colin Robertson, maybe Doug Patterson, maybe Hilde, maybe Orion, maybe some of your president uplines. That's fantastic. That's very, very important. But nothing beats a global convention Oslo. Yeah, this is mandatory for everyone. It is involved with some costs, yes. You have to buy a flight ticket, you have to make a hotel reservation. That's true, but it's definitely worth it because it will definitely pull your business off in a better way. That is very important. Now, when it comes to promotion of events, whether it's a regional event, whether it's a convention, there's always three phases. Keep that in mind. It's a little training called building for events. The first phase is the phase before the event. The second phase is the event itself. And the third phase is the phase after the event. Now, if you would give these three phases priorities, which row of order would you consider is most relevant? What is the most important phase of the three? Phase one, before the event. Phase two, the event itself. Phase three, after the event. You can help me and write it in the chat. Let's do a little exercise here. Write it in the chat. There's 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3. Give your numbers. Number one, before the event. Number two, the event. Number three, after the event. Let's see what the people write in the chat here. Give the row of order. Which one is the most important one? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of threes after the event. 1, 2, 3, no promotion, no ticket sales. Peter, yes. 3. Yes. 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, 3, 2. That's the Trudy is the first one, as I can see. Sorry, a lot of answers. Trudy is the first one who got it right. She said 1 is most important, 3 is second, and the event itself is the least. And this is totally correct. Let's talk about this. Why is this the case? First of all, we all agree, and we should all agree, that building for an event is the most important focus when it comes to an event. Because if you do not build for an event, you will have no people at the event. If you have no people at the event, it does not matter how good the event is, what it does, what they promote, because there's nobody there of your downline and you miss out on the entire thing. And then you also can't follow up very well because there's not many people you can follow up because you didn't have anybody at the event. Okay? So, number one, billing for the event, in this case, Oslo, in this case, Top Gun, in this case, the events that will be set up by your team leaders before Oslo to end the summer, to ramp up for autumn. This is what you gotta fully focus on. Actually, 80% of what we do is billing for events. Can be online events, can be offline events, can be called, whatever it is. But 80% of what we do is promotion. Promotion. So the number one most important phase when it comes to an event is the phase before the event. Now, what's the second one? Trudy is right. It's after the event because the power lies in the follow up. If you do not follow up the event, let's say you did well in one, you had a lot of people at the event, everybody saw the event, and now everybody goes home pumped. That's the moment where you make a change in your organization. That's the moment where you call everybody. That's the moment where you make new plans, where you set new goals. Okay? That's why it's so relevant to follow up really well. That's the second priority. It's not the first, because the first is get people there. If there's no people, follow up doesn't help much. But if you have a lot of people, follow up is very important. And why is the event the least important? The event is the least important because you can just lay back, be there and say, oh, I'm so happy. I got 150 people in the room. Everybody's going to see what I see. It's so exciting. I'm grateful. You can relax. You can relax during the event, actually. And this is what I want you to feel for Oslo. Make sure you work as hard as you can to get as many people to Oslo as you can. And then when you're in Oslo, just enjoy that show, enjoy the news, enjoy the speakers, enjoy the party, enjoy the dinner, enjoy the leadership training, enjoy the speakers, enjoy the party, enjoy the community of Zinzino, enjoy the family. That's what we do in Oslo. We're enjoying ourselves. We're having fun. We are together. We can inspire each other. We can have drink at the bar in the evenings. My gosh, just relax and enjoy and inhale it. And then when you go back home, I promise you, you don't even need kerosene in the aircraft because you're going to fly with your own motivation. And then you go back and talk to everyone who's been there too and say, guys, honestly, from what we have seen, I think we got to ramp up our game. We're going to up our game now. We are playing too small for what Zinzino plays. Okay? We are not in the same league as our own company. We got to do better, got to do faster, more professional. And that's where your change kicks in. And then we have November. Some of you know, been around a few Novembers in Zinzino. You know what the November month does in Zinzino. November is the month of craziness in this company. So you are pumped up with a lot of people you have in Oslo, okay, flying home, and you can just hit whatever you want to hit as a goal in November by the end of the year. And if you do it right, it's going to last across the winter. It's going to last until February, March, when the craziness begins again. That's how you want to ramp up. And as you can see from what I told you, it all starts with your attitude. It all starts with your own energy, with how sharp you are about everything, how clear you are about everything. That's how it starts. Good. Okay. Just lost my notes here. Here we are again. It comes down, and I'm going to end up with that. And then Birgit, are you still there?
I'm with you and I'm very excited.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I hope you didn't fall asleep.
No.
It's not so easy to hold that to hold kind of a monologue, and I wanted to do it a little more refreshing. Guys, we have about yeah, we have 15 minutes left. I shared a lot of stuff with you, and I got a little more to share. Probably not for 15 minutes. So let's do like this. If you have a question you would like to ask or a topic you would like to bring up, write it in the chat. Birgit will analyze it, and if she finds something, Birgit, let me know, okay? And then I'll jump onto this topic real quick because I wanna actually talk about one more thing, and this is your own hunger. Often I get asked, Sven, what is the people I should look for in our profession? What are the people that are most suitable or most probable to become successful in our profession? What is their background? What is their education? What is their age group? You can't tell. Can't tell. But what I can tell you is, I measure hunger. I measure hunger and the desire to change. I look for people who are not willing to accept the life they are living right now and the results they are reaping from it. Okay? Reaping from it. I want to see people who are desperate for change, who have made a decision already that their life in the future is going to look different than it did in the past. And the only thing they're looking for is a vehicle that helps them to accomplish that goal. So it comes down to hunger. What we know is that we have that vehicle. That's what we offer. And our vehicle is super strong and super great and suited for a lot of people in many parts of the world, in different age groups, different backgrounds. It doesn't really matter, you know, as long as they are hungry and willing to put in the work. The second thing after the hunger is flexibility and teachability. I've seen a lot of people coming into this business and say, "Oh, I do it my way because we've done it this way the last 20 years." And then I got bad news for these people because probably what they've done the 20 years is exactly what they brought them to the spot where they are in the life which they want to change. So if they want to have right, if they want to have a different change, yeah, if they want to have a change, they need to make a different approach. Yeah. So teachability after hunger is the next most important trait. If these two are combined and they are open and willing to work and grind, man, then you got a future president here. That's what you should look into. Cool. Birgit, did you find anything?
Yes, one question from Theodoros. What is
Ah,
what is the
my friend.
daily method of operation that you propose people to have so they can rank up?
Well, that is what we always talk about. A daily method of operation is book your appointments, book your Zoom calls, book presentations with your upline or with the event structure if you have it on a weekly routine. And then it's all about fast start program, fast start program, fast start program. That's the basic work. That's what we do every single day. You know,
Yeah,
that's important.
yeah, absolutely correct. And I want to add something, make new contacts for yourself
Yes, 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 yes.
every day and every day.
Yeah. And I must honestly say, I'm a little proud about that because I'm right now focusing. We have a huge organization, and I'm incredibly grateful for the strong leadership that we have in our team. And Birgit and Chris are one of it. They actually the strongest in our teams, and we are very grateful for you guys. And there's not much I could ever teach you, and I even don't want to teach you anything because you might slow down. So,
No, you teach me a lot, and the main point was, you say to me, you must be the Leuchtturm. You remember on your speech and on your
yeah,
convention?
yeah.
I don't know the word in English, Leuchtturm, light.
The shining tower. What's I don't know. What's it? What
Yeah, Lighthouse. Thank you,
lighthouse?
Tanya,
Lighthouse. Yeah.
Lighthouse, for your organization. And because I was in the past, or we met us each other for the business, because this is our first business what we are doing together. I was like a mama of the team, and
Oh,
I do everything. I was like an information point for everybody, and you teach me. You have to learn something sometimes to say no and give them the right tools that they can get the information from the videos, from that and this. You don't must explain every day the same to the same people. Thank you, Sven.
gives you more freedom. But the rule is very simple. Do not do anything for your downline they can't do for themselves.
Yeah.
Exactly, because that's so important. Otherwise, they don't grow. And we as uplines, or all of you guys as uplines, we have a lot of tasks and topics to do with our people, and they are flexible. But we should always aim to push back the task to the people and see if they can solve them for themselves, because that's exactly what makes them stronger. It's like being in the gym. You're a gym trainer. People go and they want to work out in your gym, and you show them all the time how well it works, and you do it for them. Then your muscle grows, but not theirs. But you want their muscle to grow, right? So they gotta feel the pain. They gotta do the tough stuff. They gotta sweat, not you, not you. You just give advice. They sweat. Where you sweat is on your own contacts because you don't stop doing your own business. And that's what I wanted to say. I'm really very proud because I think this summer we have focused more on starting up, contacting, preparing new legs than we've been working in our organization. That's what I wanted to say. First of all, we have very solid leaders. They can do it themselves. They had to do it themselves. I mean, my leaders know I'm always there when the shit really hits the fan, right? I'm always there. If things go bad, you want to be with me as an upline, that's a good thing. But when things go well, they don't see much of us. They got to do their job. They know what they got to do, and they got to duplicate the same thing. And big it was, you were that kind of helicopter mama, right? For everybody.
Helicopter. And we have the next question, Sven.
Yeah.
What if the business prospects say, I don't have time of money to start? What is your answer?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't have the money. It's one of my favorite questions. First of all, you got to find out whether this is a fact or an excuse. I promise you that most of the time, this is an excuse. Kind of, no matter what you tell me, I'm going to work with you anyways. And the money thing is the easiest thing. Because most of these people who say, I don't have the money to start with a pack, 2 weeks later, you see them on vacation, or they are not willing to give up any of their lifestyle. So it's not really the truth. I think at this point, they haven't really understood what this can mean and do for their lives. And you might have to anchor on or follow up. What it can also mean is like a very simple leave me alone. No matter what you show me, I don't want to work with you because for some reason I don't like you. Then you can't do much, move to the next one. Okay. And if it is really about the money, then we know that then they need the business even more. Okay. So when people don't have the money to even get started in this business, they have to find a way to get started in the business. Then you have to ask them if it's really about the money and you need a change in your life, do you have anyone who can help you out? And it's not you. And it's not you because the moment you borrow them the money as the upline, please never do that. That's where the relationship changes because emotional depth are much stronger than financial depth. You know, that's why you don't do it. You don't buy them a starter kit. You don't give them money. Okay. But you help them to acquire it within their own circle. And honestly, I wouldn't borrow anyone any money, which I don't know so well, if that person couldn't get the same amount of money in their own circle, because then I don't have a very trusted person in front of me. And then you have to ask yourself, do I really want this person in my business? Because you might buy yourself a downline of problems and rather than momentum. Okay. Did that answer your question?
I think that's a wonderful answer, and that's the truth. Sometimes I ask the people, okay, you have another plan to solve your problem, and but mostly you are right. Maybe there is an other thinking behind, and they say just, okay, I have no money, so, but it's
A nice
okay.
one in the chat from Tanya. She says, new partners often claim they have contacts for customers, but not for partners, people willing to do the business. What do you suggest advice to them? That's not a bad thing. I think the product story is strong. You can lead with the story and you can build excitement from the belief in the product. I mean, get them on the test. Sometimes people ask me, "Oh, how fast does your product bring results?" And my answer is always as fast as the test result comes back, because that's the result you want. Okay, as fast as the test result comes back, because the moment the test result comes back, they cannot unsee it anymore. Okay, that's why it's so important that you can lead with the product story. You can have them make a test, fall in love with the Omega, see their own benefits. After a while, they even feel what the Omega does for them. They will start their reverse anti-aging, feeling better progress in life, which we all want, which we all go through. And then they start to look into the business case. You can do it this way. Um, Sometimes if they do not, if they feel they don't have contact for the business, um, it comes back to what I told you earlier. Then they don't have a sharpened business message. That's it. If you have a sharpened business message, you will find people who resonate on this message. Like if you have a sharpened product message, you will have people who will be excited about the product. It's a matter of practice. And you as an upline, you can do a great job in helping them sharpen the message. The product message is much easier than the business message, I must admit. But once you are good at the business message, you are unstoppable because then you can play both ways depending on who you got in front of you. Okay, good. Peter, what did you say? When the weather is bright and shining and everything's going well, people don't need a lighthouse. But when it's stormy and dark and not everything is wonderful, then they need you as a lighthouse. Always lead by example. Yeah, yeah. That's true. I mean, especially when it gets tough and stormy, you got to be the lighthouse. Give them belief, give them faith, have them work through the valley, back to the next climb up. That's for sure. But I believe also a lighthouse is also nice in nice weather because you can celebrate successes together and you can edify yourself and be happy. And it's a little bit what we have right now. Our weather is bright in Zinzino, and we still have our lighthouses do their job really well. Cool. Adam, yeah, thank you guys. Birgit, I think it's 5 to 3. Um, Maybe you want to close the meeting. For myself, I want to thank you for being with me today, and I hope I could give you some gold nuggets. I can speak for my wife, my family, myself. We love the Cincino family. We love all of you. We look forward to what's coming. I think it's just the very beginning. We are actually working inside paradise here in Cincino. This company is a true gem, and I think we should always cherish it and carry it well and be the best ambassadors we could possibly be for this company. Because if we would rate the company on a scale from 1 to 10, we would give them a 9 or a 10 at least. The question is, what would the company give us if they would rate us? And we need to match that number. So if you give Zinzio a 9 or a 10, try to be a 9 or a 10 yourself, and you will be a president in no time. Take care. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much from my side. That was a great call. And mwah, we see us next week and live in Oslo. Ciao, ciao.